Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group on YouTube. Today we are going to be looking at the PWI 500 Top 10. It's been released online, obviously 1 down to 10. The magazine is due out soon, where they'll give you the whole rundown of the 500. But they have released the Top 10, which obviously a lot of wrestling fans like to look at and discuss and decide, whether or not they should be in or shouldn't be in. So I just thought I'd run through the top 10 in case you haven't seen it, and then I'll see if there's anyone that they've missed out, if anyone maybe shouldn't be in there, and then also you can let me know in the comment section below what you think of the PWI top 10, if you agree with their list or if you don't, and if you'd agree with any comments that I've made on people that maybe should have been in it. So we're going to start at number 10. Now that is Cody Rhodes. Obviously, Cody is massively over at the moment, hugely popular in the WWE. All he's got to do is make his entrance and everyone's like, whoa. So, no shock in regards to the fact that he's high up the list. He is highly thought of. They've done all right booking him. He's probably, for me, should have been the one to beat Roman at Mania, and I think if he had he'd have been much higher up the list. But they didn't go that route with him. But since then, he's had some big victories, especially against Brock Lesnar. So, the only thing I'd say about the Cody inclusion, obviously he won the Royal Rumble back in January, then main evented WrestleMania. Like I say, he's had big victories against some huge names like Brock Lesnar, but he was injured for a good period of time. He was out for a good few months. So, I mean, should someone who hasn't really wrestled the full year make the top 10? I don't know. Maybe that's for you to decide in the comments below. But for me, like I say, he is massively over. He has won the Rumble, main event of WrestleMania. Obviously he didn't win the belt, but he got close to it. I still believe he probably will be the guy to beat Roman Reigns, because where else would you go with that situation? But it does definitely make me question, should he be in the top 10 if he's been injured for a couple of months out of the checking time? Because obviously he returned for the Royal Rumble in January, but they don't go from January to December. So in the period of time that they look at, he was injured for a couple of months. So should he be in number 10? Let me know what you think. Number 9 is Joshua Alexander. Obviously, Impact's Joshua Alexander. Phenomenal talent. He's brilliant. He's great in the ring. Fantastic Impact World Heavyweight Championship reign. He's faced pretty much and beaten pretty much anyone and everyone in Impact. He's defended the belt a lot as well, which not a lot of people can say on this list that if they've been a champ, they've defended the belt a lot. But Joshua Alexander definitely did that. But again, if you're looking over the course of a year, so 12 months, Alexander was injured for 5 months. So again, should Joshua Alexander be making the top 10 if just under half of the year he's been injured? I mean, yes, he's had some phenomenal matches, some great title defences. He's a massive reason why a lot of people have been tuning into Impact while he was the champ. But can you really say that someone who's missed 5 months of wrestling be in the top 10? I don't know. Like I say, and again, let me know your thoughts on Joshua Alexander being at number 9. Number 8, AEW's Orange Cassidy. I mean, Orange Cassidy is one of them for me. He's like Marmite. You love him or you hate him. There's no real in between. His character and his gimmick got stale for a while. Even though he never really changed it up, it doesn't seem to be stale again. It's weird. Obviously, he's had a fantastic run with the International Championship. He's been having sometimes 2 to 3 matches a week. He's been on all the pay-per-views, defending the title. He's had, 31 successful title defenses of the International Championship. So for me, there's no arguments. He's had no time off. He's not been injured. 31 title defense. That is really, really good going. And like I say, even when he lost the belt to Mox, it was still a great match. So there's no surprise Orange Cassidy makes the top 10 list on this one. Like I say again, let me know. Orange Cassidy, number 8. Yay? Nay? Number 7 is New Japan's Kazuchika Okada. So Okada, what can you say about him? One of the greatest, if not the best, right now for sure. Japanese wrestler, fantastic. Won everything in New Japan in regards to like the G1 and the New Japan Cup and the world title. So this year main event Wrestle Kingdom again, defeating Jay White to become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion once again. He won the G1 Climax last year, the 2022 one, and he's trios tag team champion. I mean, he's done quite a lot in the last year, so there's no surprise for me that Kazuchika Okada is included. Should he have been higher up? It's not for me. Well, it is for me to say. Looking at the list, I think maybe he could have been at least one place higher. Maybe, like say, a G1 win last year, then going in main eventing Wrestle Kingdom, obviously, winning the title as well. That's a big deal. He puts over Sanada, and he is the current never openweight 6-man tag team champion. So that is Kazuchika Okada in number 7. So we move on to AEW's MJF taking the 6th spot. Now, the beginning of the year, MJF was wrestling, mainly at the pay-per-views. He was wrestling as little as possible. Goes in with his character. But obviously, when he then became AEW World Champ, yes, you can have him wrestling occasionally, but then it's going to be no different to what other companies are doing with their world champs. For me, if you're a world champion, you should be defending it like every given opportunity, every given chance. Not every week, but at least if you're only doing 4 pay-per-views a year, you should be at least defending it once a month. So obviously, AEW world champion, defeating Mox, which is obviously a big deal. He's a massive name in AEW. He's had victories over Danielson in the meantime. That hour-long match that they had was absolutely phenomenal. He's beaten CM Punk this year as well. So there's no surprise MJF makes the list. And obviously recently, he's had a fantastic, phenomenal storyline with Adam Cole. Where they were enemies again. He's beaten Adam Cole twice now. And then they've gone on to capture the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships as well at Wembley. And he main evented, obviously, Wembley as well. With the 81,000 in attendance, so he's had a phenomenal year. And like I say, at the beginning of the year, he wasn't wrestling that much, but come the end, I mean, he wrestled twice in one night. Like, who'd have thought MJF would have done that? So MJF definitely deserves a spot in the top 10 for me. So there's no surprise that he is included. Moving on to number 5. And you've got Hijo del Vikingo. Absolutely fantastic, phenomenal talent. I've seen a bit of him before he come into AEW to work with Kenny Omega in that match. That a lot of people were going, who's this? Because obviously they listed it as a dream match, and marks, their heads fell off. They were like, why is it a dream match? Blah, 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 blah. Whinging, going, who's this guy? Instead of doing what any normal person would do and just type the name into YouTube and pulling up videos. I'd only come across him through something on Twitter or something on Facebook, or something I'd seen a clip. So this was obviously before he was announced to face Kenny Omega. I'd seen a clip, so I went on YouTube, put his name in, and I'd seen his match with Bandido and stuff like that. Absolutely phenomenal matches. He's a fantastic talent, and he's still only young. He's the AAA mega champion, and he's got a win over Kenny Omega as well when he faced him. And managed to beat him to retain the title. He's been doing some great things in AEW. He's been on Ring of Honor as well. He's just a phenomenal talent, and I'm absolutely made up he's made the top 10. Probably wouldn't have been one that come to mind actually if I had to pick my own top 10. But there's got to be an argument for him to be in here, especially if you look at some of the other names. Like I say, he's had that, obviously the victory over Kenny Omega. At Triple Mania, he had the four-way as well, where he retained the belts with Swerve and Swerve was it Chris Bay and my mind's gone blank now. This looks really bad. I should have written it down. I just remember watching the match and it was really good. Oh, what's his name? Commander. So I'm absolutely made up he's made the top 10, because I feel like a lot of people that don't normally look at him might now go away and type his, well, should do. If you're watching this, you don't know who he is, type his name into YouTube and watch some matches, because he's a phenomenal talent. Number 4 is WWE's Gunther. I mean, there's no shock here, is there? Come on. The dude has been breaking records for the Intercontinental Championship, but he's actually been turning up and defending it too. Doesn't just show up like twice a year or whatever. You know, he's been defending it. He's had some bangers against, obviously, Sheamus at Clash of the Castle. He had absolute banger at WrestleMania versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and then when Drew returned, another one again. You know, he's beaten Chad Gable as well. He's beaten loads of really good wrestlers along the way, and he's done it pretty much for the most part with ease. You know what I mean? He's done brilliant in restoring some prestige to the championship. I think, if I remember right, before Gunther won the Intercontinental Championship, you know, hadn't been on a pay-per-view and defended on a pay-per-view for about a year, I think, maybe longer. You know, when they give it to like Nakamura and that, they just didn't seem to book it on the pay-per-view. But obviously with Gunther, there's all eyes on him. There's all eyes on the title. You know, for me, his matches probably over the past year in WWE have been some of the absolute best. So for me, he definitely deserves a place in the top 10, and putting him in at number 4, do you know what? Won't get any complaints from me. Could have even maybe gone one place higher, but you know, I'm glad he's up at the top end of the list. Always liked him, loved him as obviously Walter on the Indies, and then when he come to NXT UK, and then obviously onto the main event, he's a fantastic talent, and you know, he's putting the work in, and hopefully he'll be a future world champion within the next year, and we can see him higher up the list. But no shock that he's in here, and well and truly deserved. He's been one of the main reasons why I've kept an eye on WWE, shall we say. So in at number 3, AEW's Jon Moxley. So if you know anything about me, if you watched any videos at all, if you've had any sort of conversation with me, you know how much I rate Jon Moxley. I think he's an exceptional talent. Last year he had the best year for me. Absolute smashed it with some of the matches he had. When at the end of the year, someone put up a post on Twitter, and I had every single match that he'd been in for every company. You know, New Japan, GCW, AEW, he's done Bloodsport. You know, Revolver, I think he might have done as well. You know, every match, like, absolutely phenomenal. And to be honest with you, he's had another fantastic year again. You know, obviously at the start of this period that they look at, you know, he's 2-time AEW champion, including like a 3-4 minute squash match against CM Punk. Who else can say they've done that? You know, obviously he's now the current international champion, defeating Orange Cassidy after his 31 title defences. You know, he's had some fantastic matches in like Blood and Guts and stuff like that as well, Anarchy in the Arena. You know, he's just had some absolute fantastic matches, and now he's again another one where people either love him or hate him. People say he bleeds too much and stuff like that, but you know, for me, he's awesome. He is Mr. AEW. He is Mr. Reliable, Mr. Dependable. He's the guy of, you know, the face of AEW for me, and has been for a while. You know, to have him at number 3 for me, no, needs to go higher. Either first or second for me. I'm not too bothered about putting him second to one of the guys that's above him, but he's got to be higher than this next one. I don't think he's had anywhere near the year that they're giving him credit for. And number 2 is Roman Reigns. So this one for me, it's no shock, no surprise in regards to people buzz off him. You know, there's a lot of hype around Roman Reigns. People love the story of the bloodline. For me, it's been stale now for the past year. It's boring. He's at the, what was it called, the Universal Championship for 3 years. He's faced the same people numerous times. You know, he then goes and takes the WWE Championship and keeps hold of that too. And then they can't do nothing with it because they don't know how to take the belt off him because he's had it for that long. So then they create another title, which is the World Heavyweight title. So then they made his belts into one because they don't want to take the belts off him because they've booked him too strong. But at the same time, the main event scene's not going anywhere at all, so they've had to create another title. Now that title doesn't have as much prestige, and now we for the first time, and God knows how long, we haven't actually officially got a WWE title. Yes, it's the WWE Universal or whatever title, the Undisputed title or whatever it's called, the yellow thing. It's not actually a WWE title, so we've lost that now as well. So, if we look at Roman Reigns, yes, main event at WrestleMania, defeating Cody Rhodes was obviously a big win. And obviously the storyline where they went into, was it the Bloodline Civil War that they did? You know, obviously that got loads of eyes on it as well. But in reality, yes, he shows up, he does some storyline work for the, you know, the Bloodline and stuff, and does a lot of this, that and the other. Doesn't do a lot of wrestling, you know, I mean, does he? He's a sports entertainer, 100%. He's not really a wrestler. He's barely defended the belt. I've seen a post, and I posted it on the wrestling group on Facebook. He's defended the title once since WrestleMania. WrestleMania is 6 months ago this month. 6 months and he's defended the title once, and you've ranked him at number 2. Why? I think he's probably had one match in the meantime as well. So he's had one title defense, and then he had the tag team match for the Bloodline Civil War thing. I don't think he's wrestled since that. So that's 6 months. That's half of your checking time. So you're going to tell me that you're going to put someone number 2 and they've wrestled probably twice in 6 months? No chance. And I'm not saying this to just beat down on Roman Reigns and the WWE and everything else, because at the end of the day, I'm quite happy to have gone for him at number 4. And I think it's a disservice to the other guys in this list for him to be the high up at number 2. I wouldn't have him in my top 10. I really wouldn't. And it's nothing against me going, oh, and people can say, oh, you've just said that you love John Mox. Mate, I still watch WWE. But one of the big reasons I don't watch it as much as I would is because of Roman Reigns. The storyline is boring as hell. He's completely ruined their main event scene. And he's barely had a match in 6 months, and you're going to put him ranked 2nd. No. John Moxley for 100% should be ahead of him. Gunther for 100% should be ahead of him. Just keep looking down the left. MJF should be ahead of him. Kazuchika Okada should be ahead of him. You know, Orange Cassidy should be ahead of him. And I know people are going to run away with that. I'm saying Orange Cassidy's well had a better year than Roman Reigns. He's been consistently wrestling 31 straight title defenses. Add Roman Reigns 3 years up. There isn't 31 there, is there? No. He's held the belts for 3 years, or one of them at least, for 3 years, because WWE like to pretend that the Universal Championship is as prestigious as the WWE when it's not. But Roman Reigns definitely shouldn't be number 2. So we move on to your number 1. I don't know what the hell that was, by the way, but there you go. I tried something and it failed miserably. So we'll rank down again quickly. Number 10 is Cody Rhodes. Number 9, Impact's Joshua Alexander. Number 8, AEW's Orange Cassidy. Number 7, New Japan's Kazuchika Okada. Number 6, AEW's World Champion MJF. Number 5, Hijo del Vikingo. Number 4, Gunther. Number 3 is John Moxley. Number 2 is Roman Reigns. So who could be number 1? There's only one person that could be. Seth frickin' Rollins has come in at number 1. And you know what? Like I said before, like Mox for me is either 1 or 2. I'm not that bothered that he missed out Seth Rollins. He's a phenomenal talent. And you know what? He's tried his best to make a main event scene again in the WWE. He started off obviously in the period of time that they look at as the United States champion. He had a bit of a thing with Matt Riddle at one point. He defeated Logan Paul at WrestleMania, which obviously isn't a massive feat because obviously Logan Paul's new into wrestling, but even still, you know, they seem to be doing quite a lot with Logan Paul, and they book him as strong as they can, to be fair to WWE. But you know, Seth Rollins got the win against him at WrestleMania. You know, big win on the biggest pay-per-view of the year for WWE. Then they create the world's heavyweight championship tournaments. You know, creating another belt because Roman Reigns is held up the main event scene for that long. It goes in again against Balor. It goes in against AJ Styles, beats them. You know, he becomes world champion. And he's defended it consistently. To be fair to him, he's defended it on multiple occasions now. You know, again, like I say, beating the likes of Finn Balor, beating Damian Priest, beating AJ Styles, beating Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, he's done really well. And considering he didn't start that much in the beginning of the year, you know, he's been holding down the main event scene on Monday Night Raw and has made them have a main event again because we haven't had one for so long. And fair play. Like I'm more than happy to give Seth Rollins his credit and his due, and you know, like I say, I'd either have either one of Rollins and Mox as 1 or 2, and to me it doesn't really matter which. I think Seth Rollins has been the best in WWE this year, and I think Jon Moxley's been the best in AEW this year. I'd probably, if it wasn't being biased, I'd probably go, do you know what? Yeah, I'd probably go Seth Rollins, Jon Moxley, Gunther. That'd be my top 3. I would. Seth Rollins is the main reason why I even have anything still to do with WWE. Like I say, the same with Gunther and Cody Rhodes as well. So that is the PWI 500 top 10 that they've released. Like I say, the issue is coming out soon, and we'll find out the rest. No doubt it'll be posted online. I'll probably get the magazine on my phone. I normally do, because I just like reading through 500. I like reading all the information and why they've picked certain people, and I like to YouTube people that I've never heard of before, because it does happen. Like, there has been many a times over the years where they've done the PWIs and they've been names and they've listed and they've put stuff, so I go on YouTube and I'll have a little watch of a match or two, and that's how I widen my knowledge on all things wrestling. So that is the PWI 500 top 10. Let me know in the comments if you think that someone is missing. Let me know if you agree with the list. Is there anyone that should be on there? Is there anyone that shouldn't? So the only person I'm going to talk about that I think that should be on there, I mean, I could literally list my whole top 10, but you know what? The one main issue I have is Will Ospreay not being on there. How can you not have Will Ospreay in the top 10? He's an absolute phenomenal talent, one of the best in the world right now. Yes, some people don't like him for previous things that he's done. If you go on just wrestling, he's phenomenal. Like, honest to God, he should be in this list. You know, he's had absolutely 2 fantastic matches with Kenny Omega. Obviously at Wrestle Kingdom as well, for one. And he's faced Chris Jericho as well. He's, you know, massive win there. He's the IWGP United States Champion. He's had a good showing in the G1 this year. He was a runner-up in the G1 last year. You know, I mean, he's been superb. For me, there's no way Will Ospreay doesn't get in this. Will Ospreay's had a better year than Roman Reigns. Will Ospreay has had a better year than Joshua Alexander, because Alexander has been injured for 5 months. He has had a better year than Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes was out for months injured as well. I mean, if you're going to put these type of people in that have had big injuries that impact the time slot that you're looking at in the top 10, then you're going to miss out people that have had a fantastic year and have been around for the full year, the likes of Will Ospreay. So for me, Will Ospreay should have been in the top 10 this year, and it'd be interesting when the list comes out to find out just how low they have ranked Will Ospreay, and it'd be interesting as well, just because I said his name before. I didn't think about it before now, but it'd be interesting to see, does Logan Paul crack this year's 500, and where would he be positioned? That'll be an interesting one. So let me know your thoughts on that. Should Will Ospreay have made the top 10 in the PWI 500? And will Logan Paul be in it? And if so, give us a guess at the number in the comments as well, because it'd be interesting when this comes out. Because like I say, I will get the magazine and I'll go through it and have a look. So let me know where you think he'll be. So it'd be interesting to see if if you get it right. So as always, thank you for watching. Give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and keep an eye out for more wrestling related content coming very soon.